Hello everyone. Welcome to this presentation on Guide to Writing RRL and Related Studies. In this session, we'll go over the basic steps in finding and writing your literature review. With the help of AI voiceover, I hope this presentation makes the process easier to understand. Let's begin. A literature review is an evaluation of published research related to a specific topic. According to Chigbu, Adiku, and Duplessis, 2023, it involves examining existing works to understand what is already known in the field. A good literature review synthesizes ideas, identifies relevant concepts, and shows how past studies relate to the researcher's own inquiry. In this way, it positions the new study within the broader academic conversation. Literature reviews matter because they help researchers fully understand what has already been studied. As Denny and Tewksbury, 2013, point out, this process improves the quality of the writing and strengthens the study's argument. A well-developed review also shows readers that the researcher is knowledgeable about the topic, which boosts credibility. In addition, examining prior works reveals research gaps and limitations. These insights allow the researcher to justify why the new study is needed. As Berg, 2009, as cited in Denny and Tewksbury, 2013, states, the literature review essentially foreshadows the researcher's own study. There are different stylistic approaches to writing a literature review. The University of California, San Diego, notes that one key distinction is whether the literature is simply summarized or critically evaluated. In a critical evaluation, the writer compares and contrasts findings, and may point out strengths, weaknesses, or methodological differences among the studies. Another difference lies in how the review is organized. A chronological approach arranges studies from the earliest to the most recent. A categorical approach groups them by theme, concept, or relationship. In some cases, literature may even be organized by opposing views, especially when scholars arrive at conflicting conclusions. Despite these variations, all literature reviews have a unifying purpose. They create a clear and structured understanding of existing knowledge to support the development of the new study. By integrating what is already known, the literature review lays the groundwork for the researcher's own investigation. A literature search refers to a systematic and thorough process of finding relevant published works. According to Chigbu et al., 2023, it involves locating scholarly evidence on a topic through books, journals, government documents, and digital sources. While traditional library searches are still possible, most searches today are completed online because they are faster and more convenient. Tools like Google and Google Scholar can be used, but scientific repositories, such as Web of Science, Scopus, and ScienceDirect, often provide more structured and high-quality academic materials. Organizational repositories like those of the UN or EU are also valuable, especially for accessing gray literature such as reports and institutional documents. Keywords are essential to any literature search. According to Chigbu et al., 2023, keywords act as access points that allow researchers to retrieve topic-specific studies. Scientific repositories provide structured search options, enabling the use of multiple keywords as well as filters for narrowing the results. Platforms such as Web of Science, Scopus, ScienceDirect, Springer, MDPI, Wiley, and JSTOR are widely used because they offer high-quality, peer-reviewed sources and advanced search functions that help researchers locate the most relevant materials efficiently. According to Chigbu et al., 2023, literature searches can take different forms, but the primary goal is always to collect appropriate and representative references that align with the study's objectives. Depending on the focus of the research, a search can be narrow to find highly specific materials or broad to capture a wide range of related resources. A literature search often begins with keywords entered into search engines, but it can also draw from reference lists, lecture notes, textbooks, review papers, and gray literature such as organizational reports. The effectiveness of the search depends heavily on the researcher's understanding of the topic because not every available source will be useful or relevant. Chigbu et al., 2023, also describes several forms of literature search that researchers may use depending on their needs. A theme-centric search looks at broad themes, while a concept-centric search focuses on specific concepts or keywords. In an approach-centric search, the literature is selected based on methodological approaches relevant to the study. An author-centric search is useful when the researcher already knows key authors in the field. A journal-centric search focuses on articles published in a specific journal, which can help narrow the scope. Lastly, a period-centric search filters studies based on publication dates, an important strategy when thousands of new articles are published each year. UC San Diego outlines 6 major steps in writing a literature review. First, the researcher must clearly identify and define the topic or research question. At this stage, it helps to write a short description of the topic and list the possible keywords that will be used when searching for sources. Second, a thorough literature search is conducted. This involves using multiple keywords across scholarly databases such as PsycInfo or other discipline-specific databases. The focus should be on peer-reviewed journal articles, which are considered the gold standard of scientific evidence. Third, after collecting the materials, the researcher reads through the sources carefully and takes detailed notes. Notes should capture key ideas, important findings, and page numbers. This is often the most time-consuming step, but it is where the researcher gains deep understanding of the topic and begins noticing patterns or gaps in the literature. Fourth, the researcher organizes the notes and creates an outline. This is the stage where you reflect on what the studies collectively show. Do they agree or disagree? Are there unresolved questions? Will the review be organized chronologically, thematically, or by methodological categories? Creating an outline helps determine the structure of the final review. Fifth, the researcher begins writing the literature review, keeping it concise and focused on summarizing or synthesizing the key findings. The draft must then be edited and revised, possibly multiple times. Getting feedback from another reader can greatly improve clarity and structure. Finally, the completed literature review is integrated into the research paper. This may involve merging the review into the introduction or building the rest of the paper around it, depending on what stage of writing the researcher is in. To close our presentation, here are the key takeaways. First, a literature review helps you understand what is already known, identify gaps, and situate your study within existing scholarship. Second, you now know the various types of literature reviews and literature search strategies available to you. Third, conducting a systematic search using keywords, databases, and scholarly repositories allows you to gather credible and relevant sources. Fourth, writing the review involves defining your topic, reading critically, organizing your notes, drafting, and revising. Finally, a well-written RRL strengthens the foundation of your thesis or dissertation and sets the direction for your own research. Thank you.